Hey everybody, Paul Rabelais again, estate planning attorney in Louisiana, helping people all over the state make sure their legal affairs are in order, and then helping families after the death of a loved one make sure everything gets settled the right way. Here today to talk about not only just the usufruct, but what's called the liability for repairs when someone has usufruct. Usufruct is a very common Louisiana term. It applies often when people have wills. It applies often when people don't have wills. So one of the scenarios that comes up often is when someone has usufruct and repairs become necessary. This video is all about who's responsible for those repairs. So to apply it, I'm going to give you an example. And it comes up a lot when you have wife and husband getting married. It's their second marriage. They each have children from their prior marriage. Let's say wife owns the home and she says, well, I love my husband. I don't want poor hubby to be thrown out on the street if I die before him. I'm going to write a will and I'm going to leave him usufruct so he can have that usufruct and live there for the rest of his life. And then that home can go back to my kids. Sounds great. Sounds simple enough. She dies. Somehow they get through the succession, the wife's children and their stepfather, and sometimes it doesn't even get to that because they can't all agree on things and they're at each other's throat. But let's say for purposes of our example, they get through that, the succession's complete, husband has usufruct, wife's kids are naked owners. Let's call it a 50-year-old house in need of repair. So what happens then? Okay, so this goes through it, and you might need to rewind and watch a couple of times, but let's get right to it. So be aware as I mention terms like ordinary repairs, extraordinary repairs, reconstruction, compel. Those are the things we're going to talk about. So I'm going to start 4 or 5 rules, more to it than that, but this is a starter video. First rule is the usufructuary, in our case, husband, is responsible for ordinary maintenance and repairs. You hear those words, ordinary maintenance and repairs, for keeping the property subject to usufruct in good order. We're going to talk about what an ordinary maintenance and repair is in just a second, but before we can talk about that, we got to talk about what repairs the naked owner is responsible for. And there could be 2 or 3 naked owners, there could be just one. So, and the naked owner is responsible for extraordinary repairs, unless they become necessary as a result of the usufructuary's fault or neglect, in which case the usufructuary is bound to make them at his cost. So now you're starting to hear usufructuary responsible for ordinary repairs, naked owner responsible for extraordinary repairs. Those terms are not very clearly defined. In fact, let's talk about the definition. So an extraordinary repair, of which the naked owner is responsible, are those for the reconstruction of the whole or of a substantial part of the property subject to usufruct. All other repairs are ordinary. So you go figure, and what always happens is there's a repair necessary, and the usufructuary who's using the property says, oh, that repair is an extraordinary repair. Naked owner is responsible for that. Naked owner says, that's just an ordinary repair. Usufructuary is responsible for that. And then they go at it, and they go at it. They may go to court, whatever. So tough one there. Let's keep going. Who can force who to make what repairs? So next rule I want to go over is during the usufruct, the naked owner may compel the usufructuary to make the repairs for which the usufructuary is responsible. So the naked owner can force, they may have to go to court to do it, but they can force the usufructuary to make the repairs for which the usufructuary is responsible. Which repairs are the usufructuary responsible for? Ordinary maintenance and repairs, and extraordinary repairs that became necessary as a result of the fault or neglect of the usufructuary. So naked owner can force the usufructuary to make those repairs. So if, husband goes out and parties one night and drives his truck into the living room of the house, I would say that's either an ordinary repair or it's an extraordinary repair that became necessary as a result of the usufructuary's fault or neglect. The naked owners can force their stepdad to make those repairs. Now, let's look at it the other way. The usufructuary may not compel the naked owner to make the extraordinary repairs for which the naked owner is responsible to make. So if the naked owner doesn't make them, then the usufructuary can make them, and the usufructuary shall be reimbursed without interest by the naked owner at the end of the usufruct. So if there are some extraordinary repairs that the naked owner is responsible, naked owner sure isn't going to want it, because if it's an extraordinary repair, it's probably costs a lot of money. And the naked owners are just sitting, waiting there to get that property when their stepdad dies. They're not going to want to fork out money to make those extraordinary repairs. So our law says the usufructuary can't force the naked owner to make them. But if the naked owner refuses, then the usufructuary can make them. And at the end of the usufructuary can be reimbursed. Now, in our case, husband's usufruct lasts for his lifetime. His usufruct ends when he dies, but his estate could seek reimbursement from the naked owner. So, boy, if it gets that far, you're talking lawsuit, 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 mess, mess, mess. Everybody hate each other, clutter up our judicial system, lawyers making all the money. So, real important. Understand these things on the front end when you're planning. Don't leave it to your loved ones, spouses, children, stepchildren, spouses of participants to have to get involved, and once it gets to that point, it's too late. So hope this helps. There are some more rules. There's rules on if the usufructuary abandons the usufruct. There's rules on if there's a total destruction of the property subject to usufruct. Different rules there. This video is designed to give you a starter for liability for repairs. May need to watch it a couple of times to make sure you get it straight. So hope this helps. Take care of these things in advance. It'll be a great legacy you're leaving for your family. Y'all have a great day, and go Tigers.